So you could go to the next picture. So that's the basement. And in the basement, um, to the right, there's 3 rooms. Those would be our like quarantine rooms. If anybody got sick and they would need to quarantine, they would go down there until the family picks them up, and then they can take that basement exit that's towards the left side. We also have our mechanical information offices down there. We have a laundry room and a shower downstairs in case the kids get dirty at the playground. They can use that basement door down there and take a shower and get back into the classroom. Um, so we tried, also, we will have some maintenance men and some mentors. So the mentors' offices will be downstairs, but they're the ones who will teach and lead groups to the outdoor classroom. So you can move to the next slide. So this is the outdoor classroom project. I showed you the building, and we, like I said, kept culture first and had the idea to use the Black Hills as a, anyway, we're moving on to the vision. Our vision for the new building and childcare period is to rebuild our nation through our own language and ways of knowing, epistemology, and ways of, I can't see that. Our own ways of knowing and ways of, sorry.
Ways of being.
Ways of being. So you can go on. Here we have, like I said, this building will be at the fairgrounds, and that red racetrack you see there, that's the Black Hills. And that's symbolized in our Lakota Star Knowledge CD that I use to model this off. And that is something produced by Victor DeVille as an instructor at Sant'Aglaska University. And in this picture, it's one of the earlier pictures. So the building was on the opposite side, but we moved the building since. So we have 10 acres of land that's secured and to build this right by the powwow grounds. Go ahead to the next slide. So in Victor's CDs about the star knowledge, he talks about 4 fundamental Lakota cultural precepts about the workings of the cosmos. So, and this is why we chose to teach using the Black Hills model. 1, the origin and generation of life as it is understood metaphorically in the image of a bison. To understand how the universe is given form and motion through the actions of the 4 winds, and how in particular the north wind is linked to regeneration and breath of life. Covers the basic knowledge about how the celestial, earthly, and subterranean planes of the universe are all connected. The circular order of the universe and its expression in the topography of the Black Hills, in the conduct of religious ceremonies, and in the structure of several texts, most notably the story of the Great Race. So we kind of took those concepts there and went to build the classroom, design the classroom. So you can go on to the next. Next slide. So this is an image that's in Victor's slideshow, and that's where we got the image of our classroom. And what we're looking at here is, this is like an annual pilgrimage where in our cultural teachings, we're told that we follow the buffalo, the humans, we follow the buffalo, and the buffalo is following the sun, the movement of the sun. So the sun goes into different constellations. The Chanshasha Ipusia, the Wichinchala Shakoi, Gi Oyonke Ochanku, and Mathotipila. So when the sun goes into those constellations and the stars, that is where we will be down below on Earth. So when we talk about subterranean, that's everything that happened underground. And then what are we doing here on Earth? And then in the sky. So the type of ceremony that's performed is listed right there, what the people are doing at those sites. And the reason we started like this is because when you look at cultural curriculum and what are you teaching kids in the classroom, we really wanted the kids to understand what kind of activities we should be doing right now. So right now is harvesting chanshasha. So that's an activity that we should be doing instead of, I guess, teaching kids, something else that our colonizers have us doing in our regular schools and classrooms. Go to the next slide. Next slide, please. So this is just the above and below concept. So this is where we're the celestial teachings from the top, and that we will do these on the bottom. And that those are just some pictures that, again, are taken from Victor DeVille's slides. You can go on. So you see the sun and that constellation. And those are the activities that we should be doing, is harvesting the red willow. You see the sun move into the Wichinchala Shakoi, what we also know as the Black Elk's Peak. So I think now people are going there in March. We also call that Hihankara. And there's stories to each of these sites. So we will be working with our kids to learn these stories. So you can go on to the next slide. The sun is moving into the constellation of Peshla. So at that time, the next people are gathering there. And I believe that's like in April when people are going up to Peshla to celebrate regeneration of life. So you can go on to the next slide.
I love that because we always see these events come up, but there's many people who don't really know what's really going on or the history.
Right. So that's why we're teaching them in our teacher training, and therefore they can learn to teach the children. And then this is what people know more as Devil's Tower, Mathotipila. So when the sun goes into that constellation, that is when they will be doing the sun dance and looking at that. That's the summer solstice time. And again, here's the story of how Mathotipila was created. So the kids will learn that story. So we're creating these sites at our outdoor classroom. There's Peshla. So it's the salamander and the turtle constellations. And if you look right in the middle where the arrow's pointed to, that's actually the center of the Black Hills. And then you got the Agleshka. You see that constellation, that the outline here. Yeah, there you go. You have it right on there. And then you go south, and then that's the turtle. Yeah, there you go. So we'll have those on the outdoor classroom there. And you'll see the pictures if you want to move on. Next slide. So, okay, and there's the wind cave, the current, what it looks like today, and it's pretty small. And we also want to show wind cave, and you can move to the next slide. There's something that we're looking at of building wind caves. So like I said, we talked about and hope we can get to funding that tunnel that will come out of the basement, and the kids will be able to come out of this wind cave. So we're not locked in with these. This is some things that we've contacted. It's not an easy task because we have to go out and find companies that do custom play equipment. And so we were on a search for them. So there will be Buffalo Gap. That's actually the entrance to the outdoor classroom. So we're kind of changing that up too, trying to make these functional for kids, functional where it's a fun place. So we got the concept from the Storybook Island in Rapid City. So you could go to the next slide.
Yeah, it's awesome that you can be so transparent with your ideas. So even though they're not set in place, these are all thoughts you guys are having, and hopefully you can make it happen.
So there's something that we got close to is creating Devil's Tower and the story of the bear. So again, these will be custom built equipment. Bear Butte, not Hotipi. So a sleeping bear on top of a hill, and it's functional there. And again, too, it's not in stone, but it's what we're looking at of possibilities. So that looks like monkey bars for the kids. And there's our peshla. But again, we're looking at making those functional for kids so that they know that there's constellations. And there's one of just a sample of what other ideas that they can do out there. So we really had to search for these companies. So the whole concept is as above, so below. In the days when buffalo still roamed the plains, the Lakota had to heed to teachings of celestial events in order to survive. It gave the Lakota knowledge to guide their annual food gathering and production cycles, also their spiritual needs. They had greater power to participate fully in their environment, about their own place in the vast universe. Through careful observation of the star world, they came to understand their world as a microcosmic reflection of the star world. These worlds mirrored each other. What is done below is the same above. This sacred knowledge still guides the Lakota people. So from some of these classes that I've taken at the university, and Victor DeVille being the teacher, um, I just thought that this is something that we really need to bring into the classrooms, because we're not really taught these things anymore, but that people will understand what it is we need to do. And for something that's really important is food, for the future of, um, our way of life. What are we going to eat? Where are we going to live? So that was something that was very important to the people in the past, was um, looking at what they were going to be feeding their families.
Yeah,
So
on 7 Gen Live, we always talk about the importance of knowing your identity. So, what you just stated really goes right along with that. And, instilling this knowledge in kids at such a young age will definitely help them understand their identity from, a very early age. So I love that.
so I kind of divided my talk with 4 things here. So one of the things is, where did we come from? So the children and the families will learn our creation story, history, culture, language, and our relationship with land, water, and other living things, beings in the family of creation. And the other one was, who are we? We are Lakota people who emerged from the Black Hills and were taught by the Pteoyate, the Buffalo Nation, how to live and be good relatives to all of creation, and how to live in harmony with creation. Where are we going? Our children and families will have the knowledge of our ways of knowing and ways of being. We will learn to decolonize. We will learn how to welcome a child into the world, relearn our child rearing teachings, and proper upbringing, to develop education for our children on the importance of our traditional views on recycling and protecting our ecosystems. And how do we get there? Well, this is how we're getting there, through the creation of this outdoor classroom. And in order to use the outdoor classroom, we need to have teachers trained to know the culture and be able to teach the children about what our teachings are. So another part of the classroom that I didn't talk about was there are going to be some ectomy structures out there. So we're in the process of gathering ideas of what illustrating an ectomy story. So we have 3 ectomy stories. One is Ectomy Doesn't Listen to Grandpa, Ectomy and the Giants, and Ectomy and the Ducks. So we have those 3 stories. We have some songs that go to them. So back to the picture of Storybook Island, when you go to Storybook Island, you kind of see those stories come alive out there, the Storybook Island in Rapid City. And so I kind of took the idea from there and thought, well, why don't we teach our kids about our stories? So that's another thing that will be out there. They'll get to play while they're learning and have fun while they're learning. So you can go to the next one. We talk about the grant that we received from the Administration of Native Americans. So this is a 3-year grant. And so for project year 1, ANA was pretty specific on how they wanted us to, these are competitive grants. And I've tried like 5 other times and did not get funded. So this was just as I gave up, one more try, we actually got the grant. But believe me, I had a lot of help. We had a grant writer who wrote the grant, but we gave her the information as to what we wanted to do. So the project staff will, we have 7 cultural committee members, and the project staff, we will develop a cultural immersion guidebook to prepare the childcare teachers and increase their ability to transmission of the culture, about the Lakota way of life, teachings to children and families through the development of the Lakota moon calendar, so we understand seasonal and annual events. And our objective 2 is by the end of 3 years, 18 interns who successfully complete the 12 learning projects during a cultural immersion process will increase their cultural competency and deliver cultural education to children by 20%. So ANA wanted us to use some SMART objectives, is what they call them. So we had to carefully develop all of these objectives. So that's project 1. Project year 2, in the next slide, says by the end of 3 years, we will develop the guidebook, kind of says some of the same things. And so project year 2, we're still working with our cultural interns. And you can go to the next slide. And by the end of the 3rd year, we will have developed and tested the immersion guidebook to prepare childcare teachers to increase their ability to transmit knowledge. So here, we're hoping in our 3rd year, we complete this cultural immersion guide. There'll be videos included in there, videos of recordings of our culture, our elders talking about the culture. And we're hoping that that gets passed by tribal council so that we can use that information for other cultural teachings and be able to sustain this project. So here, I don't know, I think I might have started somewhere in 94. I took the job in 91, and in 94, I started, I guess maybe that's where I began to self-actualize and learn my identity and how important that was for us to teach our own way of life. And so in 2009, um, we started the daycare center, and we taught language, cultural education training, health and safety, began to re-educate our people in proper techniques. So we're gathering resources and starting to teach. We really went heavy with song and dance. And then in 2016, this was my vision board, I should say. So I created this document years and years ago. So when you made that comment, I was like, yeah, I went and dug through my stuff to find what did I say I was going to do. So 2016, we were just continuing to do our language and cultural resources. And then you can move to the next slide. These are just some goals. 2023. And I thought back then, I thought, wow, I don't even know if I'll still be in this job. But here I am, it's 2021, and we are working on ongoing quality childcare and cultural education and Lakota language instruction to further develop education for our children on the importance of traditional views. So we're still going. And our goal that I set for 2030 is children and family members as childcare providers, daycare center will be used only as a training center only. So this depicts our goals to partner with other members of the Ocheti Shakoi in sharing of resources, early childhood training, support, guidance, and friendship. Most importantly, our goal to teach children about unity. So what I'm getting at there is childcare in the childcare world, there are other tribes who receive childcare funding. So in South Dakota, we have Pine Ridge, we have um, Cheyenne River, we have Lower Brule. So I know the other childcare directors, and this is some of the stuff that I talk about with them is, let's each take a piece of something here, and each one of us develop something and share these resources with us. So the Oglala Sioux tribe director has picked up the STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So she's kind of going with that. And Pine Ridge, they're building a new childcare center over there. And for Rosebud, my bias is culture. So ours is all about traditional culture. And I wanted to point out here that I did work with Victor DeVille. He was my advisor back then. And I said, it's really hard to figure out what exactly the 7 generations mean. And so one of the things he taught was a generation was every 72 years. So I was like, 72 times 7, we're like 500 and some years down the road. I really can't predict that and see where we're at. But I always tell the staff here that one of our goals here is to, because we help families who go to school and work and find a childcare provider, they're using providers who are not related to the child. Some of them are related, but some aren't. So our goal is to work ourselves out of a job. So childcare does not exist here anymore. Children are with their family members. But due to a lot of our dysfunction, we need to keep children safe and re-educate our families so that the children are placed with their blood relatives. And one of the things that Victor helped me with was to go according to, um, there's 4 different time frames I have here, but there's 7 years in between. So that's kind of how I set up my goals for something to go by. So I don't know where we're at with time, but I wanted to let you know that for this project, this outdoor classroom, I had to rely on, my cultural committee, Dwayne Hollowhorn Bear, Sam Movescamp, Ione Quigley, Victor DeVille, so, and Leonard Crodog. We see his holy horse. So we've had quite a bit of people come forth and help with this project. There's like no way I could come up with all of this on my own. I was the coordinator, but I wanted to wrap up and end with a quote from Chief Leonard Crodog. And he's allowing us to video record him, so we actually have this recording. But he says, we need to bring respect back to children by teaching parents to value and be vigilant, to respect and honor and protect their child. This will be developed through parenting classes for families to learn who they are, where they come from, where they're going, and how to get there. We began with taking care of the newborns, placenta for these kids. These are kids of the future. Children will know where they come from, their parents. By doing this, they will learn. We can do this if we stand together. They will have intuition through their placenta and retain what we will do at this place. They will be interested and they will learn. Tunkashila teaches our kids to know where we come from, mainly parents. They have to know about our way of life, a vision, a little school, a playground. They have a grandma and a grandpa, a survival of spiritual counseling and respect for parents for that little boy or little girl. The supreme law of the universe is kindness and care. To get to this point, we need to find people with this knowledge. The teacher may not be human. The teacher may come in many forms if it is to come. This knowledge has been given to us by the Creator. It is up to us if we want to know.
Wow, what a perfectly well said quote. And, this plan really models what you just said.
Yeah, there's actually not enough time really to really explain like all of the details of the classrooms and what we'll be doing in there. So they'll be teaching language. We were doing Lakota bingo. So we hope we can bring that back after people get vaccinated and the tribe lifts the stay at home orders so that we can bring Lakota bingo back. At Lakota bingo, that's always see a lot of elders coming to that and speaking Lakota and just having fun playing bingo. And so we're hoping that we can bring a lot of that back. So, everybody's having a good time here while we're learning and sharing information.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, as Lakota people, we hear the term 7 gen or 7 generations almost daily. But it is really kind of hard to understand that concept. But with the perspective that you just mentioned, thank you for that, because we're able to kind of understand it better and actually see it. So thank you for that. And I'm just so excited to have you on today because it gives us, we kind of get to see what's going on with the child care program. Aside from what's on Facebook, which, by the way, if you want to see what they're up to, you can go to their Facebook page, just type in RST Childcare, and you guys are very active on the Facebook page. But with that being said, Gale, do you have anything else that you wanted to share, some positive words that you want to leave off with?
Um, Actually, I don't. I just wanted to leave with that quote from Chief Leonard Crodog and ask everybody to keep him in his prayers, your prayers, because he has family members that he lost. So that was something that I really wanted to put out there for him, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Thoughts and prayers with him and his family. There have been many families who have been truly affected by the pandemic. I was looking at the numbers today and I'm feeling a little more optimistic about our low numbers here on the Rosebud Sioux tribe. I do see some people have been getting vaccinated. So, even with the way 2020 turned out in the pandemic, I'm finally feeling a little bit better about, this new year and feeling more optimistic for the health of others. And again, Gale, thank you for having such a big vision. And even though it took, so long to get to this point. And you talked about how at one point maybe you thought of giving up, but no, you kept pushing through. And because of your big visions, you know, things are actually happening. And I know it's I don't want to leave anybody else out. I know there were a lot of people who helped you along the way and who made this vision come to light. And you know, just want to shout out everybody who has helped you and has really put forth the effort in making this happen. And this childcare facility, this groundbreaking childcare facility, I mean, it's cool to see. It's got a really awesome concept, and there's a whole plan in place and how you guys want to see things play out. So I'm really excited. I feel even more ecstatic after talking with you today. But we are going to end the show. Thank you so much, Gale, for being on 7gen Live today. If you're watching this, please share it on your Facebook page, because the slideshow today, everything was just so informative. We want to get the information out there. I'm sure people have questions about, you know, what's happening with childcare. What is this new facility? Well, if you saw today's show, it's all there. Gale mentioned just about everything. So thank you so much, Gale.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good weekend, Doksha.